Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
We will just wait for 1 minute. So we shall start now. Who will tell me what did we discuss in the last session? Paranita?
Marketing intelligence.
Yes, sir.
What did we discuss in the last session?
Uh, Actually, I was not there, sir, last lecture.
Acha, okay. Simran?
So marketing intelligence.
Okay. Is the PPT visible? Is the PPT visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we started with customer discovery, and in that we discussed the entrepreneurial opportunity search and identification. What is an opportunity that we discussed first, and what are the different essential qualities of an opportunity, and then different ways to identify an opportunity that we discussed yesterday. Also, we discussed marketing intelligence, the market analysis, and marketing research, isn't it? We now will discuss about the marketing research. Have we discussed about? Okay, so we also have discussed the business model and how the business model is important and how it works. What are the advantages of business model? And then now we will discuss about value proposition, drafting value proposition for your product, service, or your business. So that value proposition, that means the promise which startup or company makes to the customers related to their offers, and therefore this promise or whatever value they are offering to the customers, this value proposition need to be very strong so that it can attract the customers and can establish the superiority of their products over the other competitor products. So this value proposition, while drafting this value proposition, first of all, what is important is identify all the benefits your product offers. Whatever your product is, you first of all identify what all benefits your product offers. List down the different benefits of your product. Then describe what makes these benefits valuable, how it is valuable to the customers, how it adds value to the customers, how it solves the problems of the customers. Then identify your customer's main problem. What is the customer's main problem for which he may look at this product as a solution. Then connect this value to your buyer's problem. Connect this value to the problem, how this particular product can add value to solve this particular problem. And once we do that, then differentiate yourself or your product as a preferred provider of this value. Those who are providing similar type of solutions to the customer's problem, you have to establish the superiority of your product or service over the other competitors, how your product offers superior value than other competitors. So this is all about how we draft a value proposition. Going ahead, the new product development, this is a basic flow chart of how is the process of new product development. So the new product development, there are various stages. The first stage is idea generation for new products. First of all, we generate ideas for different new products. Once we generate those ideas, next stage is idea evaluation. Whatever generated ideas are there, that idea need to be evaluated for whether it is feasible or how it is attractive. So idea evaluation is another step. Then concept development. Once ideas are evaluated, based on that we develop the concept for that particular product. And then once the concept is developed, then we prepare or formulate marketing strategy. How do we market that particular concept or that particular offer? Then the business analysis, and then product development. Once the product is developed, then we test that market for that particular product, whether it is acceptable to the customers or not. So if that test marketing is successful, then we go for large scale manufacturing and commercialization of that particular product. This is a basic flow chart or a process of new product development, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Then what is a lean product development? the concept of lean product development that we now have to understand. This lean product development uses lean principles of innovation. The lean principle means shortening the development time, reducing the development time, redevelopment cycles, and employs low development cost, low production cycles, and low production cost as so as to develop new products. Alan Ward, who has wrote about this lean product and process development, he said that lean principles increase innovation by a factor of 10. So 10 times there is an increase in the innovation and increase in introduction of new products by 400 to 500%. So by applying this lean product development process, we can improve the product development process. In that, innovation can be increased or innovation can be enhanced by a factor of 10, as well as we can have increase in introduction of new product by 400 to 500%. This lean divides new product development into what customers wish for, want, and need. Then we have to understand this concept of long tail marketing. Have you heard of this term, long tail marketing?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard, Sagar?
Yes, sir.
What it is?
सर अलग अलग प्राइस पे एक प्रोडक्ट बेचते हैं.
Can you please explain?
मतलब सर सेम प्रोडक्ट्स अलग अलग मार्केट में अलग अलग प्राइस में बेचते हैं.
नहीं, long tail marketing, I will understand this first. Long tail marketing is a particular strategy of selling large amount of popular products in addition to low amount of niche products or services in niche markets. There may be different kind of products. There may be some products which are very, very popular. For those products, there will be very high demand, and there may be certain products wherein there is a low demand, or those are niche products. Niche product means those are being required or being demanded by very few people, isn't it? So long tail marketing means what? Offering a portfolio of product of particular popular product. Along with that, you have a broad range of products which can be required by very small number of people in different segments. So a company may have a certain basket wherein there are popular products. Along with that, many number of different products which are being demanded by few segments or few niche markets. We'll just see this diagram so that it will be very clear. Are you able to see this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
So if it is a product portfolio of your company, so having few popular products here that we say head, and this is long tail. Long tail of products means these are the some of the products which are being demanded by very few people, but these are a large number of products. The basic theory behind long tail marketing is that the combined profit from low demand products, those products which have low demand, those may be in large number, those type of product may be in large number. Having that particular portfolio of popular product along with those type of low demand products in large number, that will be similar to that of popular products. A very greater variety of products could generate more sales and reach more customers. So you will be able to generate more sales out of those products, a large variety of products, and then it will result into more profits. So company will have popular products along with that large variety of products which will be in low demand. However, that those products will be demanded by different segments. So here in the diagram you can see this is a popular products, and these are few products which are in low demand but they are in large variety, so that the people from different segments they can demand for those products. So having that, company can ensure profit base that may be equivalent or more than that of popular products, isn't it? So this theory, long tail marketing, is that combined profit from low demand products sales will be similar to that of popular products. So combined sale of all these long tail, that means products which are in low demand but in large variety, so that combined effect or combined profit will be equal to the popular products or maybe sometimes more than that popular products. So a greater variety of products could generate more sales and reach more customers. So in short, what we can say that a company can have a large portfolio. There are some companies who have this type of structure, which can be called as a long tail, wherein they have few products which are very popular, and then there is a large variety of products which is in low demand. However, it may be demanded by different segments, and therefore this long tail, that is the large variety of low demand products, that can generate more revenue, more sales, that may be equivalent to the revenue generated by popular products, or sometimes more than the revenue generated by popular products. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So example you can have of Netflix. So Netflix carries many popular shows, movies. It also carries just as many, if not more, less popular titles. So there may be less popular titles also, but those may be demanded by different people from different segments. It may be in low demand, however, it may be demanded by large base of people from different segment. It has just over 4,000 movies and 1,500 shows. You can see the variety they have. The less popular titles contribute to the overall watch time and attract niche visitors. So there may be less popular titles which are in low demand. However, those may be demanded from people from different segments, and therefore the overall watch time is more. Similarly, you can have the example of Amazon. Amazon also sells more than 350 million products. It can you can see that the low demand products is equal to or more than high demand products. You can see Amazon also, wherein they have 350 million products, and the low demand products, the sale from low demand products is equivalent to or more than the high demand products in case of Amazon. So this long tail, that means the large variety of low demand products, that can sometimes generate equivalent to or more than revenue than the popular products. And therefore this type of companies like Netflix, Amazon, they have this type of portfolio wherein they have popular products, along with that they have long tail of large variety of different low demand products which can be demanded by a large base of people from different segments, and therefore the total revenue generated by these low demand products may be sometimes equal to or more than these popular products. So that is the concept of long tail. Have you now understood this concept of long tail?
Yes,
long tail marketing. Now we'll come to the product launch goals. So while launching a product, what can be the different goals for a particular product while offering to the market? There can be sales goals related to sales, how many units of sales you want to sell in that particular time frame. You can say, example, we can sell 100 devices within 2 months of the launch. Or you can have prospect goals. Prospect means those who are potential customers. So company can have particular goal for prospects also. How many prospects you can have, you can identify as a result of your product launch. After product launch, how many customers you find that they can be potential customers. So you can have a goal like we'll identify 200 prospects within 2 months of the launch. So there can be goal related to prospects, as well as there can be a goal related to product awareness. So product awareness is very important. This process of product awareness will begin as your you start launching your product. These marketing efforts which you are taking for making the customers aware related to your product, that's those marketing efforts or those tactics may vary. However, there can be one goal that should be that can be related to the measuring the awareness of that particular product which is being built by that particular marketing program. Example, you can take that within first week of launch, we'll see 20 outlets pick up our press release, or you can have 50 retweets of your launch announcement and 1000 visits on your website. That can be product awareness goals. So how people can become aware of related to your company as well as its products. Then you can have customer goals. So these goals are related to show the adoption of your product within your existing customer base. How you adopt, how your customers adopt your product within the customer base. Example, you can take upgrades or enablement of features. Whatever upgrades you are doing for your product, or some features you are enabling. So how customers are adopting your products. So for that also you can have a goal set for that. Like example, 10 customers will show interest in upgrading within 1 month of launch. So if you have upgrade or enablement of some features, there may be a goal which is being set for that. You can have a goal like 10 customers which can show interest for upgrading within 1 month of launch. Then product defect goals. There may be certain defects in your product. So how much defects may be there, or how much defects you expect once you launch that product. So you will have set some defect goals during the product development process. So you may have your expectation or assumption that there may be some defects in a product. So there may be additional defects you can find after the launch of that particular product. So during product development, you may assume certain defects may be there in a product. However, after launch, you may find some additional defects. So consider setting a goal to resolve quickly any issues found as a result of the release, so that you do not impede your revenue or customer related goals. So to not affect the revenue or customer related goals, you have to also set some goals related to the defects of the product. So how many defects are can be there, or how quickly we plan to solve those defects. So you can have some set goal for product defect, like for the first month after release, address all defects. That can be a goal. Getting it till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any query?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
So going further, we have go-to-market strategy. So go-to-market strategy, in a very simple way, it is a way, or it is a what you can say, it is a way in which a company brings a product to the market. How you bring your product to the market. So what strategy you use? That strategy, you can say it is a go-to-market strategy. By what strategy you plan to bring your product to the market. It generally includes business plan, outlining the target audience. It can have business plan having the target audience, marketing plans, and sales strategy. Each product and market are different, and therefore go-to-market strategy should be thoroughly thought out. Having your product which you are planning to launch in the market, that product and market may be different, and therefore each go-to-market strategy for every product may be different, because each product and market may be different. Therefore, each go-to-market strategy should have been thoroughly thought out, mapping a market problem and solution to the particular product offer. So each product, how it can solve the customer's problem, and how you can relate the product with the problem of the customers, that need to be well thought, given a thorough thought about each product and market, how you can relate that particular product and that customers, and how you can position your product to the customers, how it is a solution to their problems. So for each product and market, mapping a market solution and mapping a particular problem and solution product offers, that need to be mapped, that need to be well thought out. Then the role of selling in a startup. Role of selling in a startup is important, and therefore a sales strategy, unlike for marketing of your product, narrows your focus on one important aspect of your startup success, that is making the sale. So sales strategy of your startup will focus on very important aspect of making the sale, which is very important. And then while marketing strategy focus on increasing your visibility, a well-defined sales strategy helps you make real quantifiable product profits. So marketing strategy may focus on increasing your visibility in the market to understand the customers and making your product visible, understanding the customers, matching the customers' needs and the product, making the customers aware and all. However, the sales strategy can help you to make real quantifiable profits from the market.
So quantifiable म्हणजे काय?
Quantifiable means given in a quantity, you can measure it, isn't it? Quantifiable means measurable.
Yes.
Isn't it? In other aspects, like for example awareness or sometime image, so you cannot measure it. It is difficult to measure some particular image of a product or service, or that the awareness, difficult to measure sometimes. However, profits can be quantifiable, it can be measured, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Going ahead, this sales strategy, which proper sales strategy if you have, that can allow to address the needs of the customers at different stages. The customers may have different needs at different stages. So a properly designed sales strategy can address all those needs at different stages. You can see example that new customers and existing customers, they may have different needs. New customers may need education about product features and functionality. However, the existing customers may need assistance or technical support. So addressing all these type of needs at different stages, a properly designed sales strategy can help. So addressing prospects at different points in sales journey calls for different approaches for different prospects, or those customers who are willing to purchase your product, potential customers. So addressing the different types of customers at different stages calls for different approaches. You need to have different approach while addressing those customers at different stages. So without a strategy in place for this approaching the different needs of the customers at different stages, you will walk in blind and likely to fail to produce the best results. You have to have a proper strategy for that, so that you will not have to face the failure. And therefore, construct a flow chart or a spreadsheet that lists out all the possible stages of your prospect journey. So you can map how the customer can have a journey, or how he can move from the various stages in his journey of being aware till he purchases and uses the product. So map all the different stages of your prospects, that is the potential customers journey, and understand at what stage what assistance or what may be the needs of the customers, and how those can be addressed by a proper sales strategy. Then a sales strategy can improve rate of return on investment of your sales team. The act of formulating a strategy requires to take up step back and look at the big picture. So you have to have a properly formulated strategy, well thought, and for that you have to ask some questions like, should I focus more on obtaining new customers or existing ones? Is the upselling strategy fetching enough results against the efforts? In what areas is the result better than the cost? So all these questions you can ask so as to formulate a proper sales strategy, and as a result you will see which particular sales tactics are working for you and which are not. So you can evaluate which sales tactics or techniques are working well for you and which are not. So by doing that, your sales strategy can improve return on investment of your sales team, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Then further, proper sales strategy can enable you to hire right people. Hiring is important for startups, since in the beginning there may be 1 or 2 members in a sales team in a particular startup. So teams within a sales strategy have well defined goals and methods. If the teams have a proper sales strategy, they have well defined goals and methods. So you know exactly what you want to do in the future, and so you know exactly what to expect from your sales team. And this clarity about what to do in the future and what to expect from your sales team, that can help you or the startup to hire right people. Then sales forecasting for startups. Sales forecasting means it is a process of estimating the future sales. Accurate sales forecast enables companies to make informed business decisions and predict short-term and long-term performance. So if you have good sales forecast, this can help to make informed decisions, because most of the decisions will be based on how much we will be able to sell in the future, and therefore good sales forecast, accurate sales forecast is very important for taking those decisions. So accurate sales forecast can enable companies to make informed decisions and predict short-term as well as long-term performance. Companies can base their forecast on past sales data, industry-wide comparisons, and economic trends. So companies can have their forecasting of the sales. There may be different methods. There may be past sales data methods which are based on past sales data. Most of the time past sales data is not available with the startup, so they cannot use this type of methods. However, there may be other methods like industry-wide comparisons and comparing other economic trends. So those methods can be used for forecasting the sales for the startups. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Then another concept we have to understand is mapping your buyer response modes. how the buyer responds to your offer or to your proposal of your particular product. So this mapping of buyer response modes, we will be talking about the buyers in the sense those who are business buyers, another companies who are buying our product or having our proposal of particular product unit which can change their situation. A particular product or particular proposal is meant to change the situation. So mapping buyer response modes. Here we will be discussing about different modes of buyer's response. How those what kind of customers or buyers may be there, and what will be their responses to your proposal or your product. So the buyer response modes, it is a key to startups to understand customer responses to sales propositions and to be able to map these buyer response modes. The term response mode describe potential customers' behavior or reaction to a sales proposition. Response mode means it is a potential customer's behavior. Here customer we will be talking about B2B customer, that is a business buyers. So what will be the potential customer's behavior and reaction to a particular sales proposition or sales offer, that we have to discuss. The buyer response mode, that is potential buyers response to response modes to change. To change means the change which can be brought about in their situation by accepting your proposal or accepting your product. So those modes can be, there can be 4 types of different modes, response modes, in which different companies can respond to particular change or particular sales proposal. Like there may be growth stage or growth mode, trouble mode, even keel mode, overconfident mode. We will be talking about this in detail. So first, before that, we have to understand people buy when and only when they perceive a discrepancy between reality and their desired results. So if there is a discrepancy or difference between their current stage and their desired stage, if there is a gap, then to fulfill that gap, they may look at your product or your sales proposition positively. They may accept your proposition to fulfill the gap between their current stage and their expected stage, isn't it? So are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
So first, buyer response mode can be growth mode. There can be buyers, business buyers who are in growth mode, those who are growing. So if you approach those type of buyers which are in growth mode, they may have positive outlook at your sales proposal. So buyers in growth mode perceive that by buying your product or service, they are meant to generate growth for their company. So they may have a positive outlook at your sales proposal or your product. They may feel that if they purchase or if they accept your sales proposal or your product, there can be more growth for their company. However, these buyers recognize that the need to grow. They understand that sometimes needs to change in order to make growth happen. So to make their growth happen, they feel that something need to be changed. Something needs to change means they need to accept your proposal to make that change happen, and therefore they may be more interested in your particular offer. This understanding is positive for potential vendors, as buyers will have positive response to offering that they believe will help to close their gap between current reality and growth target. So those customers or those buyers, business buyers who are in growth mode, they may have a positive outlook for your sales offer or your product. By purchasing your product, they may feel that they may grow further. So that is a buyer behavior in growth mode. Are you getting this? This buyer behavior in growth mode. That means those business buyers who are in growth mode. So those business buyers who are growing, what will be their perception towards your sales proposition that we are discussing. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Then second mode of buyer response mode is trouble mode. In trouble mode, buyers perceive that business is failing. Means their business is failing. Those business buyers who feel that their business is failing, that is, they are losing customers, losing money, decreasing productivity, and understand that something must change. So there's a huge gap between their current stage and their expected stage. So they are losing the customers, the productivity is decreasing, they are also losing money. So they have a strong feeling to change that situation, and such business buyers who are in trouble mode, they will be very open to offerings that seem to address fundamental problems. So, whatever fundamental problems they have, they will be looking at very positively at your offering, so that their problems or their situation can change by accepting your sales proposition or your product. So buyer in trouble mode have more appetite for radical solutions than do buyers in growth. So the appetite or the eagerness for that particular sales proposition or product will be more in trouble mode to the business buyers who are in trouble mode than the buyers in a growth mode. I got this trouble mode.
Yes, sir.
Then another mode is even keel mode. Now let us understand what is even keel mode. So buyers in even keel mode do not perceive a large enough gap between their position and their goal to warrant change. They do not feel that there is a gap. So they do not want to have change. Yes, they do not feel that their current stage and their expected stage there is difference. They are satisfied. They do not want to have any change. They believe that progress is steady and there is no urgency to change anything. As a result, these buyers are not open to vendor offerings. So they are not open to vendor offerings. Whatever you are offering to them as a solution or any sales proposition, they will not have a positive outlook towards your offering, because they do not feel to have your product. They do not need that product. They do not want to have that particular sales proposition, because they feel that whatever they are doing, it is well going, and there is no gap between their current stage and their expected stage. So they do not feel any urgency to change that situation, and therefore they are not positive towards your offering. They do not see the value of your offering or your sales proposition, and they feel that your offering may not help them or change, or they do not expect any change for their particular organization or the particular situation. So these buyers who are in even kill mode do not see the value of such offering, and they value of such offering would represent, or why they should go through trouble that change represents. So they do not feel to have such change, and therefore they are not positive towards your sales proposition or your particular offering. So they think that why should they go through the trouble that change represents. So they feel that whatever they are doing is satisfactory, the progress is steady, and there is no urgency to change anything. There is no urgency to change that situation, and therefore they do not accept your offering or your sales proposition. Going further, there can be another mode of buyer response, that is overconfident mode. Overconfident mode means they are overconfident about their situation. These business buyers whom you may approach, these business buyers who are in overconfident mode, they have weak grasp of reality. They may not understand the reality, even if they are in need of that particular offering or that particular product or that particular sales proposition. Even they don't understand. So they are somewhat in delusional situation. Delusional means a false belief. They may have false beliefs about their situation. They may feel that we are doing excellent. They perceive that they are succeeding. They are feeling that they are doing excellent, and therefore they may not be interested in that particular offer. Rather, they uh, feel the particular uh, product is unwanted. So they believe that they are doing so well that the suggestion that your offering might improve their situation is practically an insult. They may feel that this offer which we are getting, or some offer which is approaching us, that is an insult, because we are actually doing well and we do not need such type of particular offer or sales proposition, even if the reality says the contrary. So their feeling of whatever they are doing excellent and they do not need such type of product or sales situation may be contrary, may be totally opposite. Actually, in reality they might need that, but they have a delusion or false belief that we are outperforming and we do not need such type of product or such type of sales proposition. Getting this?
Yes, sir.
These are 4 uh, buyer response modes. That is, buyers who are in growth mode, buyers who are in trouble mode, buyers who are in even keel mode, and overconfident mode. Going further, we have to discuss about the different social media promotion tools. You can mute yourself. Somebody social media promotional tools. So what all social media are available for promotion? How that social media can be used as a promotion for the startups? We have Facebook, which is very common, which is popular. So Facebook's casual and friendly environment requires an active social media marketing strategy. So you have to have active marketing strategy. Start by creating Facebook business fan page. So you can have a business fan page for particular product or your particular startup. You will want to pay careful attention to layout, as the visual component is key aspect of the Facebook experience. Facebook is a place where people go to relax, chat with friends. So keep your tone light and friendly. So this Facebook can also be one of the good media for promotion. However, you have to take care that the tone of your promotion may be light as well as friendly to the people. Then is a Google Plus. Google Plus is another media wherein you can upload and share photographs, videos, links, view all your number ones, that is your products or your services. Also take advantage of Google Plus circles, which allows you to segment your followers into smaller groups, enabling you to share information. So Google Plus can help you to share photographs, videos, links, and promote your product. Another is Pinterest. Pinterest is another one of the fastest growing social media marketing trend. Pinterest image centered platform. So this Pinterest is a image centered platform. This can be ideal for retail. However, anyone can benefit from this Pinterest for social media purposes, for sales driving ads. You can have your sales driving ads with Pinterest. This Pinterest platform allows businesses to showcase their product offering while also developing a brand personality with eye-catching unique pin boards. So through pin boards in a Pinterest, you can promote your products or your startup. Then another media is Twitter. Twitter is another media, social media marketing tool that let you broadcast your updates across the web. Follow Twitters in your industry, in or related fields, and you should gain a steady stream of followers in the return. So you can follow different Twitters in your same industry. Mix up your official tweets with special discounts and news with fun brand building tweets, and be sure to retweet. So you have to also respond when a customer has something nice to say about you, and don't forget to answer people's question wherever possible. So using Twitter as a social media marketing tool revolves around dialogue and communication to be sure to interact as much as possible. So it is a communication, two-way communication, and with Twitter you can have that communication possible to market or promote your particular product. Then another social media platform can be LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another professional social media marketing site. So that is, LinkedIn group is a great venue for entering into a professional dialogue with people in different industries, providing a place to share content with like-minded individuals. It is also great for posting jobs and general employee networking. You can encourage customers or clients to give your business a recommendation on your LinkedIn profile. So that recommendation is very important. Recommendations can help you to further make your business appear more credible and reliable for the new customers. So recommendations on LinkedIn can help. LinkedIn is a professional platform wherein you can meet different like-minded people and you can share your information related to your business. One more social media platform where you can promote your products is YouTube. This is a very popular and powerful media marketing tool. This is a number one place for creating and sharing videos, contents, and it can also be an incredible powerful social media marketing tool. So while working with YouTube, you can focus on creating useful, instructive how-to videos. So you can have how-to videos for your products. So you can have such types of how-to videos related to use of your product or your offerings, and you can put it on YouTube. These how-to videos also have added benefit of ranking on the video search results of Google. So that can be ranked according to their viewership or according to their rankings on the Google. So YouTube also is another popular tool where you can promote your products to masses of people by sharing the different videos. Getting it?
Yes,
So
sir.
with this, your unit number 2 is over. Your unit number 2 is over. So before we close, let me ask you whether you have any query about whatever we have discussed today.
हेलो सर.
सर वो एग्जाम फॉर्म की लिंक स्लो चल नहीं रही बोले.
हाँ नहीं, sometimes there may be a problem, but you can try after some time. Isn't it that site may be having too many visitors, so you can try after some time, after half an hour or 1 hour. ठीक है?
कल से ट्राई कर रहे लेकिन हो ही नहीं रहा.
हाँ. You can make use of different device otherwise.
ओके. कब तक ऐसे रहेगा, मतलब लास्ट डेट तक ही भरना है क्या कि रहेगा और ज्यादा दिन?
नहीं, till now it is 14th of this month, 14th of July, but it has time, na? Don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you.
So after half an hour you can again try on another device. I don't think any problem is there.
Yeah, ठीक है.
Okay, thank you. We'll close this session. Okay, thank you. Bye.